You're listening to Ideal Practice, episode number 138. Guys, if I've learned anything over the decades that I have been running a successful practice, it is that there is no one thing that's going to make you successful, no one thing that's going to make this manageable and enjoyable and profitable for the long haul. There are actually lots of things that all have to be working at the same time. I have created a framework that I call the 7 pillars of an ideal practice that covers all the bases that you need to be paying attention to. And today, we're going to take a close look at the first 3 of those pillars. That's what we're going to be doing today. And whether you are just starting out or you've been in business for a long time, it's always a good idea to make sure that your foundations are solid. So let's take a look at that, shall we? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey guys, and welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. This is Wendy Pitts Reeves, your host, and I'm so glad to be hanging out with you guys today. How are you? How are things where you are? Here in East Tennessee, on the day that I am recording this, we've had some snow the last day or two, and so we're all pretty happy. It doesn't take much. Where I am, snow is actually something we all enjoy. And what I love about it is that if we have even a halfway decent snow, and a decent snow, y'all, is like, I don't know, a couple of inches. If it covers the grass, that's great, but it's not covering the grass. But that's okay. It's enough to be pretty. And the tulip poplar in my backyard has snowflowers again. Do you have this where you are here in East Tennessee? Tulip poplars are quite common, and in the winter, where the leaves and the flower have fallen off during the fall, what's left is a little cup that's like the beginning of a seed pod, and those cups fill up with snow. So when we have a good snow, it's so cool. It looks to me like the tree has little snow flowers all over it. I really actually do kind of get a little kick out of that. So that's what's going on around here. But I got some good stuff I want to talk about today. And as I was preparing this for you, actually this episode and the next week, we're going to do something similar. I'm really going to be taking you through a deeper look into the framework that I teach that everyone needs to have to run a successful private practice. And today we're just going to get started with the first 3 sections of that framework. But as I was preparing this, I was realizing all over again how well this works, because the things that I'm going to be talking to you about today and next week, I am still living and breathing this. I'm still using this in my practice as we speak. And I'm going through a bit of a transformation in my own practice, which I'll be talking about here and there. But I was just like last night, I was thinking about all this, and I'm like, I'm still doing this. This is what works. I still use these principles even now, even after decades of private practice, even after multiple iterations of what this has looked like for me. I am still using these basic principles. And here's an example of how this plays out for you. Just this past week, I actually turned down a client in my private psychotherapy practice. I had someone reach out to me that I met for the first time about 6 months ago, somebody who came in for an intake. We had a great conversation. I was certainly willing to work with this person, but they ended up not scheduling right after that. It's been several months now. But this person reached out to me by email last week and said that they had enjoyed the conversation we had last summer. They've been thinking about it, and they were ready to come back in. They would like to schedule again. And the reason they were reaching out for me is they couldn't remember kind of how the process worked. Well, I thought about it because I liked this person just fine. The issues that they were looking for help with were totally something I could handle easily. But some things have changed for me in the last 6 months. And I am making some changes to my practice. So I told them that my practice has changed a bit in the meantime. And I thought about this for a couple of days because I'm like, what do I do? Do I go ahead and see them? Because I did bring this person in last summer. What do I do here? What's best for them and what's also true for me? And in the end, I made a decision to turn this person away. Even though I do have openings, it's fine, right? So I sent them an email and I said that a few things have changed in the last few months and that I'm making some changes in my practice and that I no longer feel that I am actually the right fit for what they need, but that I would love to actively help them find someone who would be. And I mean that. I'm still waiting to hear back from that person, but if they do, and I will reach out again to make sure. If they are open to it, I will make personal calls to people. I will do online research myself. I will do whatever I have to do to come up with 2 or 3 names that fit the criteria that they need. Because I'm not just going to say, sorry, can't help you. See ya. I am going to always take care of people. But what is powerful about this is that this was somebody, when I think about it, even last summer, it was fine, but it wasn't a yay, right? It was oh yeah, this will be all right. We can do some work together. I can help. It wasn't oh my gosh, I would love to work with this person. And I bet you can relate. I was still quite willing to go forward because, business is business. I can always use the clients and I knew I could help. So I was willing to go forward, even though it wasn't really a hell yeah last summer. Now I am not willing to go forward. And when we get finished today, I think you will understand a little bit more about why that matters and what that reflects, not only about what I'm doing in my own practice, but about what I want you to practice for yourself as well. So here is the thing. When you start a business, first of all, you're always going to want most of you are always going to want the business. There does come a time when you get so busy, you're turning people away because you just can't keep up. Many of you may have a waiting list. I know I see that also. But it is really easy when you are running a small business to go on a sort of automatic pilot. You know what I mean by this? So, for example, I often will tell clients when someone contacts me about possibly coming in, part of my opening conversation with them is I will say, have you done this before? Have you seen a therapist before? Have you ever done any kind of personal work before? And whether the answer is yes or the answer is no, I will say, well, here's how it typically works. You find somebody who has a time that you can see that manages for you. So, they've got a time slot that you can handle. You find somebody that takes your insurance if you need to use insurance. And you find somebody who at least kind of, they see kids if this is for a kid, or they see couples if it's you and your partner, or, they have some kind of basic expertise that, it's good enough. And you just kind of schedule an appointment and hope it's fine and go from there and just see what happens. That's pretty typical on the client side. I would say that's also typical on the provider side. Do I have a time that you can come? Do we have a payment system that you can manage? Do you have a need that I can address? Good enough. Come on in. That's fine. No matter what side of the healthcare industry you're in, whether you are a physical therapist, whether you're a psychotherapist, whether you're a Reiki practitioner, whatever, that is kind of how it works. But here's the problem with that. By having that sort of generic approach to your practice, that's also how you end up with a practice that you tolerate rather than one that you love. The kind where you have to kind of pinch yourself to just believe that it could be this good. You don't get there that way. You get there by making sure you are clear on certain things. And the first 3 things that I want you to really do some work around is, number 1, what is your purpose? What is your purpose for your client? What is your purpose for yourself? Why do you want to do this crazy thing at all? Number 2, Who are your people? Who are the people that when they walk into your room or they show up on your screen, within 30 seconds, you're like, oh, yeah, this is going to be good. Number 3, what is your product? Are you selling what you mean to be selling and what you want to be selling? And yes, I'm using that language on purpose. I know it's a little triggery for some of you. Bear with me. We're going to talk about that also in a little bit more depth. So I want to dive into each of these 3 because the first 3 pillars of my 7-pillar framework are purpose, people, and product. So let's talk about that. And before I dive into this, I always want you to know this. You can find this at any time. I do have a little tool. It's a self-assessment little tool that you can download and use to get kind of a quick overview of your business, your practice as a whole right now. It's called the IP360. It's a 360 review of where you are on each of these 7 pillars. If you haven't done that before, you can get your free copy. Go to wendypittsreeves.com/360, the numbers 360. That is, you'll just follow the prompts there. You can figure it all out from there. Download that little worksheet. And it's basically a little questionnaire, like a self-assessment. Go through that, and it will give you a pretty clear sense of the health of your practice in each of these areas. Now, if you've done that before, but it's been a while, you might want to pull that out. If you still have a copy of it, pull it out and do it now and see how it compares to where you were before. Or if you've lost it, go get you a new copy. That's fine too. Okay. So I always want to mention that because I do think that's really helpful. wendypittsreeves.com/360 to get that scorecard for yourself. But let me talk you through a little bit of this now so you can get a sense of what each of these is about and why I do what I do. So I want you to know I put a lot of thought into this framework as I was working on this. I created this a few years ago and I spent a lot of time on it. And I have put these in a certain order for a reason. So I want you to follow me in order for a reason. Okay. So the first one I said was purpose. So let's think about this for a minute. Most of you are going to say, well, Wendy, I know what the purpose is. Of course, I want to help people. I want to help kids. I want to help couples. I want people to be able to walk without their back hurting. I want people to feel better, whatever. That's easy. I know what my purpose is. I'm going to tell you, I bet it's a little bit more than just, and I don't mean to be dismissive, but I bet it's a little bit more than that. So Simon Sinek, who many of you will know, he's a very thought leader in the business space. Simon Sinek says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why. If you haven't read that, I encourage you to do so. In fact, I will try to remember to include a link to that in the show notes. It's a really, really good book because his point is that most companies don't give this nearly the amount of attention it deserves. Here's the thing. When you get clear on your purpose, what that means is that you are declaring your why to the world. That's what this will do for you. You will be declaring, here's what I'm about, people, and here's why this matters. The core principle that I am speaking to here, pillar number 1, means this. It means that you will be able to make this statement with confidence. Quote, I know why I do what I do, and I have a powerful and potent vision for the business that I am building. I know why I do what I do, and I have a powerful and potent vision for the business I am building. If you'll notice, that principle has 2 parts of it. The first is the why I'm doing what I'm doing. The second is the what I'm building here. But those 2 go together. Now, when I coach people or when I have led people through my Evolve course, We have a whole process that we go through to dig deep into this material. I'm going to walk you through just a little bit of that right here. Let's talk about what do we mean by why. It seems obvious, doesn't it? But maybe it's not as obvious as I think. The first of all, what we mean by this is, what is your purpose, your cause, your belief? What is your purpose, your cause, your belief? Why does your practice, your business exist at all? I mean, after all, you could go get a job, right? Doing all kinds of good things. Why does your business exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? What drives you? What makes it worth it to do this for you, no matter how hard it is, how scary it is, how tiring it is, how time-consuming it is? And for you guys, it's never going to be just about the money. I am happy to see that more and more of you are beginning to consider that, because that is absolutely important. But that alone almost never works for us, does it? It certainly doesn't for me. So what is your why? And not only what gets you out of bed in the morning, but this will sound a little bit harsh, but why should anybody care? Why should anybody else care what you do or that you have this business? And yeah, that's a little bit of a trick question. I'll just kind of give you a heads up about that. Here's the thing. Your why, your cause, your purpose, your reason for being in the world, you as a provider, you as a business owner, your business itself, your why sets you apart instantly. You don't even have to try. When you are crystal clear about this, and it is not as easy as it sounds to get there, but when you dive deep and you give this some real thought and you land on it and you nail it and you know it, your why will set you apart from everybody else in your field, in your area, in your network. It will make your marketing 1,000 times easier. Not even kidding about that. And it'll keep you going when you want to quit, honestly, because there's a reason why I do this. There's a reason why this work matters. There's a reason why this business matters to me and my family and my clients. So getting clear on that is super important. And I want you to kind of nail it. So I am going to give you just a little quick bit of help here. I actually have a whole module around this, and I have a process that I walk people through that helps them work on each of the two parts of this principle. You know, the cause that you have for the world, but also with the vision you have for your business. It would overwhelm you if I gave you all of that right now. So all I want to do right now is I'm going to give you a tool that I actually mentioned a couple of weeks ago here on the podcast. It's called the Quick Purpose Clarifier. Pure coincidence that I'm bringing this up twice. It just says fit twice. It's a part of the module where I teach this in my course. And if you will send me an email, send the email to wendy@wendypittsreeves.com. Put the word purpose in the subject line, and I will send you this little worksheet. Okay. What this worksheet will do is it will ask you a series of questions that will help you clarify and strengthen your purpose to the point that you can craft an ideal practice purpose statement. When you do your homework and you do this exercise that I've got for you, when it's all said and done, you will be able to write one clear sentence that follows this format. The sentence is, my purpose and the purpose of my practice is to blank so that blank. My purpose and the purpose of my practice is to blank. And in this first blank, you put in your contribution. So that blank. In that second blank, you put your impact. My purpose and the purpose of my practice is to what? What is your contribution? So that what? What is your impact in the world? I'll give you a couple of examples of this. Simon Sinek himself, his purpose statement is that the purpose is to inspire people to do the things that inspire them so that together we can change our world. That's his purpose statement, to inspire people to do the things that inspire them so that together we can change our world. You see how he has his contribution to inspire people and then his impact at the end. Apple has their own version of this, and their purpose statement says that their purpose is to make the best products on earth and to leave the world better than we found it. That's nice and simple, straightforward. There's no "so that" in there, but it is implied. You see where I'm going with this? So it's kind of interesting. Like this is actually very simple in one way, but getting there is not so simple. So where I landed when I have done this process myself, the purpose statement that I would share with you today is that my purpose is to empower women leaders to want more, to do more, to be more, so that they can empower others to do the same. And there's lots of ways I do that, right? So the first part of this process today, the first pillar is getting clear on what your purpose is in the world and the difference it makes for the world. But the piece that I don't want you to forget is the difference it makes for you personally, for your family, for your bank account, for your lifestyle. All of that goes together. So again, shoot me an email, wendy@wendypittsreeves.com. Put the word purpose in the email subject line, and I will send you that little worksheet to help you think that through if you'd like to do that. All right, the second pillar, so much fun. The second pillar is people. Y'all know that in my tagline, what I talk about my practice, I say it is profit-centered, people forward. That's because if you're not making a profit, that really does kind of have to be at the center of what you do. That's the healthy part of your business that supports the rest of it. But of course, what we care about is the people that we serve, right? Always. So what does people forward mean? It means, how do you enter into a deeper relationship with your ideal client? How do you do that? What does that mean? And the core principle of this pillar is this: you should be able to tell me that you know your ideal client inside and out. You know what drives them, you know what worries them, and you know what serves them. Now, I say that on purpose in that way because when I know my ideal client inside and out, and trust me, I do, and she approaches me, I know what's driving her. I know what's going on in her head. I don't even have to know the details usually. It helps, of course, but I understand her so well that often I know her better than she knows herself almost from the beginning. I know what worries her. I know what drives her. But I also know what serves her. And by that, what I mean is sometimes what your clients come to you asking for isn't really what they need, or there's more to it than that. And you may not say that on the front end, but you do know what they need. You do know what's going to help them. You do know what's going to serve them, even if you have to be thoughtful and strategic and watch your timing about how and when you introduce that, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about here? Have you had that happen? Somebody walks into your office and sits down and you're 10 minutes into the intake and you're like, oh yeah, I know where we need to go with this, right? Of course. I mean, that happens when you're good at what you do and you've been at it for a while. We get there. We may not say it out loud, but we get there. So that's when you've got this principle down pat, that's what you know. You know them inside and out. You know what drives them, what worries them, what serves them. What we're talking about here is your ICA. What is an ICA? That stands for your ideal client avatar. That's a metaphor, y'all. It's a metaphor for a certain type of person, a certain population, or a certain problem that you want to serve in your private practice. And once you figure that out, once you determine that and you're crystal clear about it, it becomes the focal point around which everything is built. Your programs, products, services, your marketing, your messaging, literally everything in your practice will be built to sustain, support, and serve this target, this ICA. And I'll tell you this, even when you get this figured out, I'm just going to just let you know, it will change. It will change over time. It will evolve. The longer you are in business, this will change because your interests will change, your skill set will change, the things that you find yourself wanting to help with, that will change. That's okay. So you will do this over and over again, probably every few years in your practice. But always come back to this and make sure that you are clear on this. Who is your ICA? Let me talk about why you need to know who this is. Because this is the thing, y'all. Money, you do want to get paid, right? Money comes through people. Money comes through people. When somebody hires you, they are investing in themselves and their results through you. So they're paying you, but what they're really doing is investing in themselves. That's where the money comes from. But they're not going to buy from you because they understand you and all the fancy letters after your name. They're not going to buy from you because they read your curriculum vitae or your resume or because you do XYZ technique. That ain't going to do it, y'all. They buy from you when they feel understood by you, when they feel seen by you, when they read your copy or they meet you somewhere, or they hear you give a talk and they're like, oh my gosh, is she talking to me? How did she know that? That's when you know you've nailed it. And that happens when you are speaking to a specific ICA. Okay. This is why you need to know these people, because it will help you connect with them on such a deeper level, and they are going to want to work with you. There are a couple of myths about this that I bump into all the time. Yes, we are kind of talking about a niche here. You don't have to call it that if you don't want to. Call it a specialty. Call it, these are just the people I love, whatever language you want to use. But here are some of the sort of resistance that I run into here. We often think, I thought this for a long time, that we don't need this. I don't need a niche. I don't need a specialty. I don't need an ICA, Wendy, because I really can help almost anyone feel better. I really can. I mean, I can name one or two kinds of folks that I don't really want to work with, or one or two problem areas I don't want to work with, but I really can help almost anybody. And besides, I'm afraid that I will lose business if I narrow things down like that. That worries me a little bit. I don't want to turn people away. And good Lord, if I saw the same kind of thing all the time, I would be bored out of my mind. I don't want that. Besides, let's say all of that was fine. Aren't we supposed to want to help everybody? Saying no to somebody is wrong, isn't it? I mean, as long as I can technically help them, don't I have an ethical obligation to try? No, I don't actually think you do. I think you may have an ethical obligation to help them find something. I also think that's just nice, and you should do that. Yeah. But no, you cannot be all things to all people. And when you try, you end up watering down your work, watering down your services, diluting your effectiveness, and you're not going to enjoy your practice, my guys. You're going to have, my guys, my friends, you're going to have a practice that you tolerate, not one that you love. Here's what happens if you resist this, if you find yourself arguing with me. When you are not clear about who you work with, you're also not clear about who you don't work with. So what that means is you may end up working with clients who are not right for you. They're just not right for you for lots of different reasons. It may be that you don't have the right skill set for what they need, which means they're not getting the best care. I've had that happen, haven't you? I've certainly agreed to see people a little bit on a wing and a prayer, hoping I could figure it out, right? I mean, we've all done that, more so in the early years of my career than later. But of course, we all do that. If you're not crystal clear on who you serve, it may be that you're seeing people that their personality is just not a good fit for you. Maybe they're not open to guidance, for example. They're not teachable. They're not coachable. So you end up having to work harder to be present for them. It may be that they can't pay you or they won't pay you as required, which sets you up for resentment and creates this whole other dynamic in your relationship that is certainly not healthy. It may be that they can't or won't work within your boundaries. They're always asking to see you outside of your regular hours, or they're pushing against your policies, or they won't follow your systems, which means they are a constant drain on your energy. Did somebody just pop up into your head? As I said that, did you just think about somebody? Yeah, that one's always a drain on my energy. You know who these people are. I bet you know who these are. You may actually like them a lot. That's fine. But you have a passion for something else. So your heart's just not in it. The work there is just not aligned with what matters most to you. You see how important this is? It's really important that you not work with those folks for all the reasons I've already said. But here's the cool part. When you are crystal clear, and if you need to sort of revamp this and revisit it and get clear again because it's changed, that's fine. But when you are clear, you'll know that you are working with exactly the right people because you love them and genuinely enjoy being in their presence. The work is so satisfying. You know that you are uniquely qualified to serve them. So your own confidence grows with each new experience because not only are they perfect for you, but you are perfect for them. You naturally attract more engaged, committed, appreciative clients. And y'all, they're going to love you too, most of the time. And you know what all that does? That gives you the energy to provide the very highest value and your best work. And if you don't mind me getting a little mushy here, on some level, this work will fill your soul. And it leaves you kind of happy tired. What I think of as happy tired at the end of the day. Happy tired. It's so good. It's so good when you give yourself permission to spend some time thinking about this. Who are the clients who light me up and why? Who are the clients that don't and why not? And then allow yourself to begin shifting your approach in your business to attract more of that first group. That's exactly what I have been doing for the last year or two. And in a moment, I'll tell you a little bit about how that's going. But I cannot say enough about what a difference this is going to make for you. So that's pillar number 2. Pillar number 2, making sure that you are working with the people who are meant for you. The pillar number 3, I do have a whole process around that one too as well, y'all, but I'm not going to send you all this stuff because it's too much. But I just want to talk you through these principles so that you can do some of this work on your own. And I'll always, if you need help, reach out to me, of course. But I just kind of want to get this into your head first. Pillar number 3 is the product. This is all about designing your ideal offer. It means crafting packages, programs, your signature service, right? That's what it all is. And here is how I describe this core principle, pillar number 3. When you have this polished up and it's clear in a way that like is really working for you, you have an irresistible offer that provides your clients with the resources they need to get the results they most want. Let me rephrase that. Let me say that a better way. Provide your clients with the resources needed to get the results they most want and the help they really need. I always go back and forth between those two, between what they want and what they need, because they are not always the same thing. And I feel like part of our role as a professional is to see that and to find ways to guide them through that. But when you've got this nailed down, your product, your program, your service is that. It is an irresistible offer that gives them exactly the tools, the resources, the support that they need to get where they want to go. That's another way of saying that. Now, I know just the word product is like, Wendy, I don't do products. You may already be arguing with me in your head. Wendy, I don't sell products. I know that. And in many ways, in the private practice world, you actually are your first product. It's who you are. It's the skills you bring. It's the powerful way that you lead your clients to a better place. But there's so much more to it than that, y'all. So yeah, you are the product. You are selling yourself. You are selling the transformation that you provide. That is the core product, of course. But goodness, there's a lot more to it. Without a strong product, without clarity around this, you may find yourself feeling frustrated, tired, unfulfilled, because the services you offer are kind of generic. They're vague. They're not really clear to your ICA, and you know what that means now. You may even be providing services or doing a kind of work that you don't actually even like very much. Been there. Without a strong product, without a strong offer, maybe offer is easier for you, your income is dependent on your physical ability to deliver the service. In other words, when you're not working, you're not earning. There's lots of reasons to look at this in a bigger way, y'all. Your offers are limited in scope. There are very few ways that clients who might want something different can get something different. Like maybe they need more, or maybe they would benefit more from a different way of working with them. Like maybe you want to offer intensives or do some experiential work, or maybe you want to offer a group. Maybe you have a DIY course. Sometime last year, I hosted Kim Lang here on the podcast, who had a whole thing going about offering products to her clients. That she's a child therapist, formerly a child psychotherapist, who has found her own way of getting products and services out into the world. That she has some really creative ideas about how to use actual products in your business. You might want to go find that episode. I'll try to remember to link to that one below. But the main thing is that if all you are doing is your 1 hour once a week service, whatever it is you do, that's pretty limited. And when that's what you're doing, there's no room for creativity. There's no room for some variety or for some new ideas. And honestly, even when you do have ideas about new ways to serve, they might feel like they're just too big to try. That's what it can feel like when you don't have this nailed down. But when you have nailed this down or given yourself permission to explore it, you will feel aligned with your ICA. You feel aligned with the work that you're doing, and you will naturally be more inspired and even excited, y'all, because you are now free to create. Free to create. Isn't that one of the best parts about running your own business? You get to experience, you will often find that you will have this sort of like burst of energy and new ideas about how to serve your tribe. You can get past the dollars per hour thing and leverage your expertise for greater revenue without taking up more space in your life. I'm a big fan of that. You'll have better boundaries around your time because you'll have better clarity around what you do offer and what you don't. And that's going to serve everybody. You will connect with your clients. You're going to serve them at a richer, deeper, impactful level. The work will actually shift from being transactional. You pay me, I help you. You pay me, I help you. It's going to go beyond that to work that literally is changing their life. Doesn't get any better than that, y'all. Doesn't get any better than that. So as I was putting this together to you, I mentioned at the beginning that I was conscious about how I am actively employing exactly what I'm sharing with you today in my own practice. And it is so delicious. It is so delightful. I cannot tell you. Y'all, I've been in private practice for 30 years. A little over that, which is kind of nuts to say that out loud. And because I come back to these principles over and over, in a way, my practice is brand new again. That is what has happened in the last couple of years. It is new again because I have reconnected with my purpose. I have gone back to revisit my ICA, and I am rethinking the service that I provide. And it's so satisfying to see how this is unfolding, even after 30 freaking years of doing this work. What does that look like for you? What is your purpose? Why are you doing this? Who do you serve? How well do you know them? Do you recognize them when you meet them on the street? And how are you serving them? And are there some new ways that maybe you want to explore that? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I have to be careful because I can go off on a tangent about how excited I am about things today. But I wanted to introduce these concepts to you. We're going to be going further with this next week, but this is the foundation on which everything else rests. So take some time to dive into this for yourself. These are great conversations to have with colleagues. You could actually work on getting clear around these things over lunch with the other people in your practice. That's a fun thing to do. If you need help with this, you are always invited to reach out to me for one-on-one support. We can do that through a quick start consult, or if you and I have worked together and I'm pretty familiar with your practice, we can just go in and set up a coaching session. All right. So however I can help you, let me know. But do something, because this is what makes running a business fun, sustainable, impactful, profitable. And isn't that what it's all about? Yeah. More to come, my friends, next week. In the meantime, have an awesome week, and I will see you next time right here on the Ideal Practice Podcast. Bye now. Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if Ideal Practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do one or two of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, you uplift and encourage others. And I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.